Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me okay? Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Hello, my name is Judith. I am one of the freshman admission counselors at the University of Minnesota. Super excited to be here today with all of you. I'm just going to be sharing some information about our college. And so to begin, we would like to take the time to give a proper land acknowledgement. This is something that is incredibly important to us. So with that, I'm just going to be reading off this slide, and then we can officially go ahead and get started. We acknowledge that the University of Minnesota Twin Cities is built within the traditional homelands of the Dakota people. It is important to acknowledge the peoples on whose land we live, learn, and work as we seek to improve and strengthen our relations with our tribal nations. We also acknowledge that words are not enough. We must ensure that our institution provides support, resources, and programs that increases access to all aspects of higher education for our American Indian staff, students, faculty, and community members. With that, I want to thank you all for allowing me the space and time to read our land acknowledgement, and we can officially go ahead and get started. When it comes to the University of Minnesota, we really like to talk about it in 4 different categories: academics, opportunities, location, and value. The first thing that we're going to talk about is our academics. At the University of Minnesota, we have 150 majors and 135 minors to choose from, which is a lot. But oftentimes I like to tell students, if you have absolutely no idea what you want to study, that is okay, because I guarantee that if you take a look at our list of majors and minors, you'll probably find something that sparks your interest. I have also went ahead and left materials outside of our room where you can find our list of majors and minors as well if you are curious. With that, do you want to go back? Yes, with that, we also offer graduate and professional programs. This is something that is incredibly important because not only can you fulfill your undergraduate career, but it really doesn't have to end there. We have our University of Minnesota Law School, Medical School, Dental School, and incredible graduate programs as well. Something that we also love to share is that we have a 17-to-1 student to faculty ratio. This is a number that we want to share because, as you know, we are a really big university, so oftentimes class sizes are a big concern. But 80% of our classes have fewer than 50 students in them, and then once students are diving deeper and deeper into their major, those class sizes actually start getting smaller and smaller, so we're thinking about 15 to 20. With that, we also love to share that we are a land-granted R1 university, and essentially what that means is that 90% of the research done in the state of Minnesota is done through the University of Minnesota, so there really is a lot of great opportunity there. Awesome. We also have 8 freshman admitting colleges, and essentially the way this works is when a student applies to our university, they will also be applying to our college. So for our colleges, I won't dive too deep into each one or else we would be here all day with all the majors and minors, but I can give you some examples of the majors each college offers. So to begin, we have our College of Biological Sciences. This college offers majors such as genetics, neuroscience, microbiology, biology, all of these good things. Then we have our College of Design. This really is our arts, creative college that offers majors such as architecture, graphic design, interior design, apparel design, all of these good things. Then we have our College of Education and Human Development. So this is our people school. We really like to say if you enjoy working with people, this might be a good fit for you. We have majors such as sports management, youth studies, elementary education, kinesiology, human resource development, all of these good things will be found here. Then we have our College of Food, Agricultural, Natural Resource Sciences. This college offers majors in nutrition, animal science, food science, and a fun fact that I always love to share is that the Honeycrisp apple actually comes from this college. With that, we have our College of Liberal Arts. This is our biggest college at the University of Minnesota, and it offers a wide range of majors, anything really from theater all the way to economics, political science, sociology, psychology, all of these things will be found there. Then we have our Carlson School of Management. This is our business school, and you'll find majors such as accounting, finance, minors in business law, all of these good things. And then we have our School of Nursing. This is our smallest school at the University of Minnesota, and it is also one of our most competitive schools. It is a direct track into nursing. Your last 2 years, you'll typically be doing your clinicals, and then from there, you'll take the exam, and after your 4 years, you'll be a registered nurse. With that, we have our College of Science and Engineering, and as you can imagine, we have all the engineerings. Mechanical engineering, industrial engineering, aerospace engineering, computer science, data science, all of these good things will be housed there. With that, at the University of Minnesota, we also acknowledge that students are coming in with various different identities, passions, and interests, and we really want to make sure that students are feeling supported and welcomed inside and outside of the classroom. So on this slide, you'll find a list of various programs that we offer for students. One program that I love to highlight is our Multicultural Center for Academic Excellence. This is a resource for students of color, first-generation college students, and it offers things such as free tutoring, one-on-one advising, study spaces, access to computers and laptops, all of these good things. All right, with that, we move on to opportunities. So opportunities is something that I love to say, as long as you're willing to say yes, I guarantee that you'll find incredible opportunities at around almost every corner at our university. We have over 900 student groups, and that is a lot. So as you can imagine, we have anything from robotics to debate to canoeing to dancing. We even have a lettuce eating club as well. So the possibilities are endless. If you can imagine it, we most likely have it, and if we don't, it's really easy to make up your own student group as well. With that, we also offer 9 cultural centers and more than 200 culturally focused student groups, such as our Black Student Association, our Asian Student Union, Mi Gente Latinx. All of these good things are found here as well. With that, we also love to share that we have a comprehensive learning abroad center. So not only can students study abroad, but they can do research abroad, they can do an internship abroad, and really they have the opportunity to pick from more than 50 countries, and our programs are about 180 to choose from. So again, a lot of opportunities for students to really embark on whatever it is that they desire. With that, our last thing that we love to share is that we also have our freshman housing guarantee. So as long as students are applying for housing by May 1st, we guarantee that your student will have a space on campus to live in when they arrive in the fall. All right, so the next slide is talking about being a Big Ten. What a Big Ten means is that we have 22 Division I NCAA teams, and more than 1 million Gopher fans come and visit our stadium each year. Now, something that I always share in full honesty and transparency is that I would be lying if I told you that I have so much knowledge on anything related to sports, because I do not. But the really nice thing about being a Big Ten is that you really don't have to have all this prior knowledge of sports to really feel that excitement whenever we see Goldie wearing our maroon and gold and just being in the atmosphere whenever we have games. But apart from that, an added benefit about being a Big Ten is that we actually have an academic alliance with all of the other Big Ten institutions. So essentially what that means is if your student is ever conducting research on our campus and our library systems doesn't have what they're looking for, they actually have access to all the other library systems within the Big Ten network. So really there is a lot of added benefits as well. With that, we also love to talk about our location, and as you know, we really are in the hub of everything. I like to say you get the best of both worlds, because not only do you get this small town college feel, but you're also so close to both Minneapolis and St. Paul. We're approximately a 15-minute train ride to downtown Minneapolis and a 30-minute train ride to downtown St. Paul. Now, something I always love to share is an added benefit is you're not only this close to 2 big major cities, but you're this close to career opportunities. We're right in the hub of 17 Fortune 500 companies, incredible nonprofits in our healthcare systems as well, such as Hennepin Healthcare, Mayo Clinic, a Children's Hospital, all of these good things. And you know, I could also keep going on and on about how amazing our location is, but I would much rather have you see it for yourself. always like to say, if the corgi races didn't convince you on why Minnesota is amazing, I don't know what will. But with that, let's continue and talk a little bit more about the value. So at the University of Minnesota, value is something that is incredibly important to us because we acknowledge that investing in an undergraduate degree is a really big investment. So we want to make sure families are feeling confident and comfortable in the decision that they're making. At the University of Minnesota, we have a 93.5 freshman retention rate. Now, essentially what this means is that after a freshman class completed their first year on campus, 93.5% of them decided to come back and finish their undergraduate career at the university. This is a number that we're incredibly proud of because the national average is around 70%. So for us, 93.5 is really showing us that students are feeling supported, they have the adequate resources, and they genuinely want to be on campus to come back and finish their undergraduate career with us. We also have a 74% four-year graduation rate, and again, this just reiterates the resources and support students are having in order to receive and complete their four-year goal. With that, we also love to share that we have a 13 credit flat rate tuition. Now, essentially what this means is that any credits over 13 are free. You will only ever pay the price of 13 credits. If your student decides to take 15 credits one semester, 17 credits, however many, you're only going to be paying the price of 13. This is something that is incredibly important for us to share as well. We want to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck. With that, our university also offers university and collegiate scholarships. The really nice thing about this is that students don't have to fill out a separate application. As long as students are applying completing their application for admission, they will be automatically considered for academic scholarships. Now, if your student is awarded an academic scholarship, we will notify them by the end of March. Typically, we say, if March 31st comes around and you haven't heard from us, then it is safe to assume that you weren't awarded an academic scholarship at this time. However, again, the really nice thing is that there is no separate application. It is automatically being considered. With that, we also offer our need-based scholarships, and all of our need-based scholarships are those listed down below. And then the next slide will also provide you with a little bit more information on each one. One I like to highlight is our Promise Plus free tuition. Now, if students are eligible for it and your family household income is of $50,000 or lower, we will help fund the full cost of tuition for that student. Again, this is something that is incredibly important for us to share with families as well. And then you can also find more information about our Native American Promise tuition and our You Promise Scholarship program on our websites as well. With that, next comes talking a little bit about admissions. Like I mentioned, there is only one application to be considered for three things. That is going to be admission, that's going to be academic scholarships, and that is going to be our university honors program. So students can either choose to apply using the Common App or our Golden Gopher application. Whichever one they choose is completely okay. We do not have a preference. And then on the other hand side of the screen, you'll see the things that are going to be required. So the first thing we're going to ask is that application. Then we're going to ask for a $55 application fee. However, this can be waived, so if you're eligible for it, certainly reach out to us and we can help waive that. And then we're also going to ask for a self-reported academic record. This essentially is going to be all of your grades 9th through 11th and all of the classes that you've taken as well. With that, something that we recently announced is ACT and SAT scores. As of now, up and through fall 2025, these will be optional. They will not be required. With that, essays, letters of recommendation, and transcript will also be optional. They are not required. We will only be asking for a transcript if you are accepted into our university. So, let's say you have applied, you've completed your application. When we receive your application, at least 3 people will review and read your application. We will conduct a holistic review, and essentially what that means is that we're going to take a look at academic factors and contextual factors. Now, it's important to note that academic factors are going to have a heavier weight because we are an academic institution. So we're going to be taking a look at things such as GPA, class rank, the rigor in your coursework. All of these good things are going to be taken into account. But then we're also going to have context factors. These are things that are going to tell us a little bit more about who you are, much more than your grades ever will. So for example, if you're a first-generation college student, maybe you're involved in a sport, maybe you have a job, maybe you're the primary caregiver of your family, whatever the case is, these are all things that we're also going to be taken into consideration when reviewing your application.
How far do you go back? Looking at all that, how far,
For context factors or academic factors?
Academic.
Academics, we will start from the beginning of 9th grade up until 11th. Yes?
So what are you basing your contextual factors on if there's no essay and there's no transcript and there's no...
Yep, that's a great question. So like I mentioned, letters of rec and essays will be optional, so it really is up to the student if they wish to share that information with us. If they decide to share it with us, then we will take that into consideration, and if they don't, then that is their personal choice.
So would you say that increases or does it increase rather their chances?
Yeah, great question. So what I will say is that for our recent class, 50% of our students submitted all of the things that were optional, and 50% of them didn't. So that will give you a good, yeah. All right. So this next slide is our middle 50 percentile of our fall 2021 admitted freshmen. This is going to give you a good general idea of what those numbers are looking like for us. Split up and broken down by college. You're going to see GPA, ACT, SAT, and class rank. Now, like I mentioned before, ACT and SAT scores are optional. And the reason why you may be seeing really high numbers, again, is because they're optional. So typically the students who did submit them were because they had really good scores. And then it's also important to note that 25% of the students that we admitted had numbers lower than this, and 25% of the students that we admitted had numbers higher than this. So this is just to give you a good general idea, but again, keep that in mind. All right, so when it comes to admissions, we have 3 separate application deadlines. Now, there really isn't a real difference between each of the 3. The only real difference is if you want to receive a decision from us sooner, then you can apply sooner. But if not, then that is okay. All 3 application deadlines will be receiving equal consideration. So with that, like you can see up above, if you apply by November 1st, we'll give you an answer by the end of January, December 1st, middle of February, and then our regular deadline, January 1st, by the end of March. But with that, I want to thank you all for allowing me the time to share a little bit about the U of M. I have gone ahead and laid out some materials outside if you want, feel free to grab them. I have also laid out my business card. If you ever have any questions, certainly send me an email, give me a phone call, and then on the next slide will be a quick QR code. If you want to get more information about the U of M, you can just take a picture and it'll send you right to our link to sign up. But yes, thank you.
We can. Both of us can take questions if anybody's got questions. Or we can just sit awkwardly up here too. Yeah.
How do you figure out where you are in the class?
Good question about class rank, and this comes up every year. Washburn stopped doing class rank about 5 years ago or so, and that's where most, let's say where most progressive high schools do that, is they don't rank anymore, so we do by decile. There is not a good place to find that. We have to, hand calculate that entering your senior year. So when if you log into Naviance by mid-August or so, you will find that number on Naviance, what your decile is. Yeah?
What is the best time to take the teacher recommendations? I have a junior, the junior teachers know my
Yeah.
If I wait to have the senior year, the teachers
So all teachers are different. What I tell students first is what we do a little gatekeeping in our office, so we don't want students flooding teachers with recommendations if they don't need them. So, for example, the University of Minnesota, really not a factor in admissions, but for other schools it might be. So, Carleton, for example, is going to need 2 letters of rec, and if the student knows prior to the end of the school year that they're going to need letters of recommendation, they can certainly approach the teacher now, but the teacher's not going to write them this summer. There is a process for getting them uploaded. We use Naviance as the vehicle to send things. So, they can talk to a teacher now, give them an idea that they might want a recommendation, and then come back and formally ask them right when we get back to school. They meet with their counselor, then we give the teachers the ability to upload that recommendation. And I should say with that, with recommendations, if they're needed, they usually want 1 or 2. We really don't let students ask for 3 just because our teachers are busy, and some teachers get 40 or 50 letters of recommendation, and it's just too many. So 2 would normally be the max, and it's usually from a core teacher, English, math, science, social studies, or world language. Yes?
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're looking for with the honors college or the honors dorms? I'm sure if it's a program or college.
Yeah, great question. So honors admission is going to work a little bit differently. I will say that honors is going to be extremely competitive. So to give you a good idea, this year we had a general admissions of about 36,000 applications, and our honors class can only accept 600 students. So typically we're looking at the top 1 to 2% of a high school class for students to be admitted into admissions. And if provided ACT, we're looking for high ACT scores. Typically 33 is the average.
Yes?
Yeah, why is Minnesota chosen to be test optional?
Yeah, that's a great question. I will say that decision was made by people who are in much more power than I ever will be. But one of the main reasons that we decided to be test optional up until at least fall 2025 was given that a lot of the students who will be our incoming classes have been a part of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we want to make sure that all students are having equal consideration, and then from there, given that time frame, after that, we're going to see how that affected, our graduation rate, our retention rate, and decide from there if we want to continue being test optional or not.
Okay, I think the announcement was just made to go ahead and switch sessions. So again, thank you for coming.